Captain Blood with Errol Flynn, based on the book by Rafael Sabatini. If you haven't read the book by Rafael Sabatini, do yourself a favor and read it. His writing is elegant and very much Captain Blood. Captain Blood was had a significant influence on my development as a youth. Captain Blood is the story of a man who is the recipient of undeserved misfortune. He's plying his trade as a doctor, treating his patient as he should. The patient turns out to have negative political connections, so Captain Blood gets off to the slave colonies in the Caribbean, right? As punishment for treating a rebel. And those would seem like a bad development, but once in the Caribbean, he's able to escape his imprisonment and becomes a pirate, and eventually makes fame and fortune, gets the girl, the gold watch, and everything, and ends up governor of Jamaica. Don't you wish life was like that? Yeah, I did wish life was like that, because my life sucked. I was the recipient of undeserved misfortune. I was just a kid in these terrible circumstances, through no doing of my own. And how the hell am I going to survive this shit? And so I saw Captain Blood on our tiny, tiny, tiny black and white television. It was made in 1930 something, before I was born. And I must have watched that film 100 times. Fortunately for me, our television, which only got one station, if you worked the antenna just right, but that television station was WGN from Chicago. And they showed a lot of late night movies on the weekends. And Errol Flynn's Swashbucklers were a regular part of their programming, so I watched them over and over and over again all the time. I practically memorized the dialogue. Faith, it's an uncertain world entirely. Anyway, it's that sort of scene. So I watched this film, and there's a little sword fighting in it. There's a classic duel between Errol Flynn and Basil Rathbone, the pirate captain Levasseur, on the beach and the rocks with the surf coming in there. Oh, it's great, man. It's great fantasy fodder for a young kid to swashbuckle his way into that scene. Yeah, so I thought it was inspiring. The idea that he could go to prison, get out, and conquer all. And I thought, man, that's what I got to do. I got to survive this shit, get out of this prison, and get out and conquer all. So this film meant a lot to me. And turns out Errol Flynn had a daughter named Rory, who was a photographer. And I tracked her down many years after seeing the movie, of course. I tracked her down and I said, called her on the phone. And I said, you don't know who the hell I am, but I just wanted to tell you that your dad probably saved my fucking life. Because, you know, people talk shit about Errol Flynn now that he's dead, because any coward will insult a dead lion, right? So I just called her and said, I just wanted to tell you that. I thought maybe, it just seemed like I had to do that and say something good to you about your dad, and how much his little matinee performances, really meant something to me. Really had a huge impact on my life. So we had a nice long conversation about her dad, and little things he said and did, which I'm not going to repeat. But it was nice. And I still watch it every once in a while. I pull it out regularly and give it a viewing. Now, now that I know how to handle the sword myself, I look at those same fight scenes and I say, man, as a fencer, he wasn't that great. That's not so good. He's not doing that quite right. That's not so hot. But man, he sure looked good doing it. He may not have been good with a sword, but he looked better with a sword than anybody I've ever seen, Basil Rathbone, on the other hand, was very, very good. And it shows in every move he makes. There's a skilled swordsman right there, man. So yeah. Errol Flynn. If you get a chance to see Captain Blood, you'll enjoy the fight on the beach. Yeah, and I know. Interestingly enough, I believe he finishes that fight with an intagliata. Is how he kills Captain Levasseur, ending a partnership which never should have begun. Worth a viewing anyway.